It's the Opperman Report. Join digital forensic investigator and PI Ed Opperman for an in-depth discussion of conspiracy theories, strategy of New World Order resistance, high-profile court cases in the news, and interviews with expert guests and authors on these topics and more. It's the Opperman Report. And now, here is investigator Ed Opperman.
Okay, welcome to the Opperman Report. I am your host, private investigator Ed Opperman, and this show is brought to you by CartKing.com. If you've ever thought about opening your own mobile cart or kiosk business, maybe to add additional point-of-sale locations across the country quickly, CartKing.com can be the answer to your needs. CartKing.com is a North American designer and manufacturer of the finest mobile retail, coffee, food, and carts and kiosks that money can buy. 20 years, CartKing.com has been working with clients and corporations across America to provide indoor and outdoor kiosks and carts for any application. So no matter what kind of business you're in, the coffee business, the food business, the flower cart, souvenirs, you go to cart-king.com, you look over their designs, you pick out the one that applies to your business, they'll custom design it for you, custom build it for you, and they'll ship it worldwide. Give them a call at 877-986-7771. Tell them Ed Opperman sent you, and that's how you get a good deal. Want to welcome our brand new sponsor, PureSoapFlakes.com, 218-568-2525. Ever heard of Castile Soap? Pure Soap Flake Company handcrafts fine soap bars, laundry powder, and concentrated soap flakes from organic vegetable oils. Bathe your body and wash your clothes with products that are free of fragrance, GMOs, sodium lauryl sulfate, and synthetic additives. Wouldn't want your baby's onesies and diapers to be washed in PureSoapFlake.com? Keep it clean, people. Pure Soap Flake products are kind to living creatures and sensitive skin, safe for drains and waterways, and work great in high-efficiency washers and top front-loading machines. Order at puresoapflakes.com or amazon.com, and coming soon to a Whole Food Market near you. 218-568-2525, puresoapflakes.com. And go. All right, our guest today is the great Gianni Russo. You might remember him as Carlo from The Godfather, but he's lived a fascinating life. He's got a great book out, just came out just recently, Hollywood Godfather, My Life in the Movies and the Mob. His website is GianniRusso.com. Staten Island boy like myself. Gianni Russo, are you there?
I'm here, my friend.
Thank you so much. Tell us about yourself. Who is Gianni Russo?
You know, you could ask so many people that. I don't know. Sometimes I get up in the morning, I don't know whether I'm a writer, a chef, a singer. So I have a complex life and personality and multi-talented, fortunately. And now I'm a writer.
Well, you were a writer before this because you wrote that movie, the one with William Forsythe.
Oh, yeah. Well, I've written several motion pictures. My first novel, though. And I'm really proud of it because it came out March 12th. It's already a bestseller. And having a blast, actually. So.
Okay, it says on your IMDb you were born in Staten Island, or you're from Staten Island. Were you born in Staten Island?
No, I was born on Mulberry Street. I mean, they had me on Staten Island. They had me in Brooklyn.
Yeah.
There's so many, you know how that goes. I mean, they put on what they want to put on. But and whoever, I don't know who wrote it originally, but whatever they want to say, as long as they're saying it, isn't that the way it's supposed to be?
Any publicity is good publicity. All right, well, let's start off with The Godfather. And that was your first movie role. Were you interested in the movies before you got that role as Carlo in The Godfather?
Well, my ego, I always wanted to be an actor. You know, I was like 25 and making a ton of money. I just wanted to be an actor because I was always interested in the film business. And so when the opportunity in the book came out, I had someone read it to me because I couldn't read. Because if you know anything about my life, I spent most of my time, you know, as a young child in a polio ward in Bellevue for the first, well, after I was 7, I spent 5 years there, which is very formative years. And when I hit the road, when I hit the streets, I just kept going, and I didn't worry about education. So this was my opportunity. I saw I could play Michael, Sonny, or Carlo. And I took the opportunity and pursued it, only to find out that they were going to use professionals. And I wasn't a professional. I never acted before in my life. But I had the opportunity to get involved with trying to get it produced because Joe Colombo, who was a friend of mine, was trying to stop the film to begin with and didn't want, Italians and all. He was the head of the Italian-American Defamation League, which was trying to improve the image of the Italian-Americans in the American eye. And one being the film, he was using the book as a platform to correct all of that. So with me knowing the mob as well as I did at that time, I knew they loved money. So I told Joe, I said, you're missing a great opportunity here to make a lot of money. Because at the time he was raising money for the league just by raising a buck a button for these red, white, and green little flag lapel pins. And I gave him the idea that if he cooperated with Paramount, maybe we can get the movie made, and I will arrange for you to get all the world premieres in the major cities, and you could charge $100 a ticket at that time. And we did, fortunately, once we got it, straightened out with Paramount. And my reward was to play Carlo. I wanted to play Michael Sonny or Carlo, and they let me know that Carlo was the only role available yet. So I turned to Colombo in the meeting with Bobby Evans and everybody else, and I said, Joe, I'll play Carlo. And he looked at them, he said, he's playing Carlo, and that's how I got the role.
Against playing across some of the greatest actors in history. Marlon Brando.
Thank God, yeah. And I wasn't even looking, Pacino, they weren't known. The actors I was impressed with and still am, or was Brando and Richard Conte and Sterling Hayden. These are the ones I knew. But, Pacino did one film at the time, and James Caan basically had a big hit with a TV show called Brian's Song.
Right.
And so, I mean, to be in the company of all of them, and we all know where their careers went, fortunately. So it was a great experience at 25 to be in here we are talking about it almost 50 years later.
Yeah, one of the greatest films in history. I think everybody agrees on it. Top 5 in everybody's list, The Godfather. But now you're saying that you were 25 years old and you had a ton of money. How'd you make so much money?
Well, at 12, I was selling ballpoint pens on the streets, first of all in Wall Street, because that's when everybody got paid in cash with their envelopes. And I got the pay schedule from Marine Midland Bank, old man Pinto. So I used to wind up after you got paid maybe 10 minutes later and with my ballpoint pens and typewriter erasers, and these girls felt sorry for me because I still was afflicted with my left side, and I used it to get the sympathy and a few dollars for my ballpoint pens and erasers at the time. So after a few months, I exhausted that whole neighborhood. They wouldn't even talk to me. They just opened the drawer and show me how many pens and typewriter erasers they had. So I took the train, the N train or the R train up to, 59th and 5th Avenue, and I made that my corner. It was perfect. And every day this guy would walk past me and touch my left shoulder and sometimes give me words of advice, and I didn't know who he was, and give me $1 or $5 and never take a pen. And this went on for months. And then one day we stopped, created a conversation, and he asked me a few questions, and I answered them, and he told me, come to work for me. I said, what do you want me to do? He says, just do my errands. I was like 12, 13 years old at the time now. And I stayed with the guy until 1973 when he died. His name was Frank Costello.
Okay.
And, there were days he'd give me $100 a day. That's like $1,000 a day today in this world. In fact, I'm sitting in one of his apartments right now. I walked in this apartment when I was 12, and then when things went on during the years, they weren't using it anymore. It was a horse room. My bedroom, my master bedroom, had 24 phone lines in it. So I was just running money here and there in different places, picking up and dropping off. I did that for a lot of years, and I started traveling worldwide. And then he got involved with the election for John F. Kennedy to become president. And then we just kept going.
You know, I'm a little surprised to hear that you had polio as a kid. I didn't know that. I didn't get a chance to read the book. What do you call it? Have you had health problems your whole life? You seem like you're in great shape.
Ever since then, I had no problems at all. Thank God. I'm glad I had all those problems early on because, I'm 76 now. All my friends are having hip replacements, this replaced, that replaced. I'm out every day. I mean, I was in 4 states this weekend. And I'm talking about Connecticut to Nevada. So.
Yeah, it's okay. So and you said 70 what? You said 77, 76?
76.
Yeah, that's like my dad's age. Okay, 76 years old. I'm 56 myself. 76 years old.
My oldest son is 56.
Yeah, you got all this energy, man. How do you do that? Because I'm like half the man I was like 2 years ago, man. How do you do this?
You better change your diet and start drinking a lot of vodka.
No,
I don't know how I do. That's all I do.
Oh, really?
I watch people fall apart around me.
Yeah. I'm a vegan, man. I'm working out every day. I'm no coffee.
You're a vegan?
Yeah.
Well, then you should be very healthy.
I guess I know, but I just not like I used to be. I want to be like Gianni Russo, man. I want to be out there still. So you're still drinking vodka, you say, right?
Yeah, I drink a lot of vodka. Well, I have Don Corleone vodka as one of my products.
Okay.
And it's out of Italy, and it's I don't know. I just fell in love with it, and I used to drink a lot more wine, but I felt the sulfites was slowing me down and puffing me up, and I was right. So now I drink 3 or 4 martinis a day, and I feel marvelous.
Yeah, when I drink vodka. I got to agree with you there, man. Okay. Couple. What about that restaurant, Bravo Johnny's? Was that yours?
No, never was mine. No, I love the guy, a great guy. No, Bravo Johnny's was on 62nd and 2nd Avenue in New York.
I thought that was you, man. I was in there a few times. I thought that was your place. Okay. All right.
No, he made people believe that, too. Because he used to come to my restaurant in Vegas called Gianni Russo State Street. And he was a customer of mine, actually, Gianni. Nice guy. He passed away. You know that, don't you?
No, I didn't know that. No, I'm out of touch
with
New
York.
Yeah,
terrible death.
Now, where was your place in Vegas?
Vegas was on State Street. I called it Gianni Russo State Street. State Street was one street off of Karen, right outside the walls of the Las Vegas Country Club, between Paradise and Maryland Parkway.
Okay. And what's there now? Anything good there now?
Oh, no. I think the neighborhood is really deteriorated and it's just changed.
Yeah.
I got out of there in '89, so you can imagine between now and then, it's like, 20, 30 years ago.
Yeah, I actually lived out here in '89 for about 18 months here myself. Right around the same time. Now, so then the stuff in that movie, the movie you wrote with William Forsythe, what was the name of that movie again?
No, that was For Which He Stands.
For Which He Stands. Okay, and that's a great movie.
That was Robert Davi, Maria Conchita Alonso. There was interesting people. You know who was supposed to play that part was Armand Assante. And Armand Assante got a hernia after doing Gotti, which I got him the part for Gotti, because he was doing another movie I was involved with called Striptease with Demi Moore at the time. And when HBO called him to hire him for Gotti, he was afraid to. So I called a lifelong friend of mine, Joe Watts. I said, Joe, you got to get a message to John, because he was being held downtown in the Tombs. I said, Armand's afraid to play him in the HBO movie. So Joe Watts went in one step better. About 3 nights go by, and we're in Miami shooting this movie. Nobody's ever heard the story, actually.
Okay.
And my cell phone rings, and it's John Gotti, because he had a guard let him use his cell phone an hour a night. I don't know what they're paying the guy. And I got Armand on the phone. He says, who is it? I says, John Gotti. He says, you're kidding me. He's in jail. I said, you want to talk to him or not? And he got on the phone. I don't know what they said, and when he hung up, he called HBO, his agent, and told him, I'll take the part. So with that, I had him groomed to play For Which He Stands. And then he got a hernia, and if you remember, this kid, William Forsythe, was very close to him, and he said, use Billy Forsythe. I had to go because, I had everything scheduled for everybody else. And he was getting 2 weeks off and coming to me, but he got a hernia from gaining all that weight for Gotti. And so I used Billy. It didn't come out as much as I thought it would. I mean, I thought it would be a better film with Armand I mean, not to throw William Forsythe under the bus, but it wasn't the same film that it could have been. Good film, though. Worked out well.
I think it came out very well. But one of my favorite movies you're in is Out for Justice, okay, with Steven Seagal.
Steven Seagal. That's another story that involves John Gotti. You believe this?
Okay, go ahead.
I was in New York City just doing some business, going back to Vegas, and Joe Watts called me again. And he said, Joe, you know that guy, Johnny, he says, you know that guy, Steven Seagal? I said, Steven Seagal? Who's Steven Seagal? He said, he's that karate guy. He makes all those movies. I said, Seagal. He said, I don't know. Seagal, Seagal, who cares? I said, what's the problem? He said, well, Frankie Boy DeChico's on the set. His daughter's on the set in Brooklyn, and this guy hit on her. And he's gone crazy.
Ooh.
Now, if you know Frankie Boy DeChico was the guy that got blown up accidentally, thinking it was John Gotti.
Yes, his widow moved next door to me on Staten Island.
What's that?
His widow moved next door to me on Staten Island.
Oh, you're kidding?
No, I'm not kidding you. Small world.
Yeah. So with that said, he said, would you go see this guy and tell him to lay off? So I go to the set, and Jules Nasser was the producer. He produced most of his movies. So I said, Jules, where's Steven? He's in a trail. I said, I got to see him. He said, well, he's busy right now. I said, tell him I got to see him. I got a message from John Gotti. Because John was livid. So then he comes out. He says, what's the matter? I said, well, you know this girl, Marianne DeChico? He said, oh, man, you got to see her. She was on the set yesterday. I said, well, you got a problem with that? He says, why? I said, her grandfather's Boozy DeChico. He's an underboss with the Gambinos. And she went home and said you tried to hit on her. The guy was dropped dead. So that's how I got the part.
Oh, get out of here. Okay.
I swear to God, I wasn't going to be in that movie. So Jules and him, they whisper, and he said, we want you to be in the movie. I said, why? What am I going to do here? He said, no, you can do anything you want. Just ad-lib. You know everything about the mob. It's about a mob movie, this, that, and the other. But we want you to hang around, and we want you to try to make some peace with Stephen and John. I said, you don't want to do that. He said, no, he really wants to. He wants to apologize. So I arranged it for him to go to Denoy, the restaurant that John Jr. had, his father built for him on First Avenue. And then we get picked up, and I figured, they're going to whack this guy. We get picked up, and they take us up to Nino's on 72nd. And there's John, the whole entourage. And I walk in with this guy with these stupid robes on.
Oh, my God.
And he makes another mistake. He starts talking Sicilian to John Gotti, who's from Naples. So John is a rude, crude, tough guy. And he said, let me just tell you something, okay? I'm not going to talk Hebrew to you. Sit down, I'm from Naples, and shut up and listen. And that was it. And he read him the riot act. He says, now get out of here. So I'm getting up to go with him. He says, no, don't go with that ass. I'll stay here. So now my phone's ringing all night long. You don't want me to go. Now he wants me in the film no matter what. And that's how I got the film. And then, but you know what happened. They shut them down for years. And then he went against them. How stupid that was. He testified against them. And Georgie Gotti went to jail because of him.
Well, that's what I was going to ask you. What is the story behind that? Why was Seagal kicking up money? What was he doing? He had to kick up money. What was he doing? Or was it was being extorted?
He had to bring them $10,000 a month.
Or what?
They shook him down.
Or they shut down his productions, or what? Or kick his ass? What?
Yeah. Or no, maybe kill him.
Okay. All right.
And Jules was making a lot of money with him, so they paid it.
Okay, gotcha.
And then they got wiretaps on it, and they brought it down. But this idiot, that's why. And it's so funny. He's with a friend of mine, not a close one, but I got to know the guy. He's living over there with Putin. I sent him over to see Putin. Putin fell in love with him. I said, keep him.
Yeah, Seagal also, too. Man, what was the other thing with him? That was what took Pelicano, too. Pelicano got caught up in that whole thing. But he's about to get out. Yeah. Okay. Well, that's a fascinating story, that whole Seagal stuff, too. Hey, whatever happened, too? He was having these Russian assistants, his slaves in his house and stuff like that. Did you even notice any of that?
I know none of that stuff. No.
Now you're telling me
he's nuts, this kid.
Yeah, he is. All those scenes, though, in the bar, that was all that. Give me that badge and that gun.
That was all ad lib.
Oh, man. You stole that, man. You totally stole that scene.
No, that's great. No, I
stuff.
mean, it was well, it is, and everybody talks about that movie though, so it was fun.
No, it's a hammering that up.
I shook them down. I got $50,000 for that role.
Okay, very good, man. That's a nice piece of change. Yeah. Hey, now what
Yeah,
about?
I told Jules. Okay, I'm sorry.
Go ahead. No,
what?
No, you said you told Jules what?
I said, Jules, you want me to stay here? You got to give me some money. He said, well, how much you want? I said, how long you want me here? I said, well, we're going to wrap in 3 weeks. I said, 3 weeks, $50,000. He said, are you kidding me? I said, no, let me get on the plane. I'll get out of here. Don't worry about it. He gave me the money.
Hey, you got that whole ball rolling there, okay, with these guys making payoffs. Hey, now what about when you tell your story about how you got into the role of Carlo, right? Mario Puzo came out and says, no way, because he would have got hit by the mob if they would have took him. What's your response to that?
There is no response to it. It's bullshit. I mean, they're not. How do you talk about that? No, I brought Joe Colombo to the Gulf and Western building. Mario Puzo had nothing to do with all of that. Okay. That was Paramount. Paramount because Joe was picketing the FBI building at the time because his son was arrested, and he's trying to make this whole thing about the Italian Americans, their image. They make everybody gangsters. And that's why he really opposed the movie being made, because he thought it would only increase the whole image of being mobsters. And he was winning his fight. And I'm saying to myself, wait a minute, I want to make this movie. And it's always about money. And I knew that. And that's how, I straightened it out, fortunately, and we made the movie.
But what about...
I think you're confused with when we did the rehearsal. Marlon Brando wanted to get me fired.
Right.
Because he's in front of me. We did the rehearsal, and then we took a first break, and they told all the actors on the call sheet, they even wrote it along the bottom, do not have eye contact and do not approach Mr. Brando. So I wasn't going to bother the guy. I didn't care. So he came walking over to me, and he says to me, you're a big actor. I said, no. He said, you got a big TV show coming out. I said, no. He said, well, you're not on Broadway. I know everybody on Broadway. I said, you're right again. Now what? He said, who'd you study with? I said, study what? What are you talking about? And with that, he called Coppola over. And that's the first time I realized how important Carlo's role really was to this movie. And he told Francis, he said, Francis, this guy marries my daughter. He beats her up to lure my son Sonny and gets him killed by the Barzinis. And my whole family's being undermined by the other mob families. This guy's got to be a believable actor. And I'm saying to myself, this guy's trying to get me fired. So I didn't know protocol on the set. So I said, Francis, go over there a minute. I didn't know you can't dismiss the director. So he walked away because he knew how I got the part. So the next thing I do, I put my arm around Marlon Brando, because we were up on 119th Street at Patsy's. I used to go up there all the time. So I knew there was a zig and egg game at night in the back room, so I walked him back there just to get him out of earshot from the other people in the room, and I got right in his face. I said, let me just tell you something, okay, Mr. Brando? At all due respect, you get me fired, I will suck on your heart. You will bleed out in this room right here. You hear what I'm telling you? And he backed up. He said, that was brilliant. You could do this part. He thought I was acting. I was serious.
Hey, how do you feel about, they talk about how life imitates art, right? But in so much of The Godfather, all these young guys coming up, they imitate The Godfather. You know what I mean? Like guys that are actually
still.
Yeah, right. What do you make it? That's had a huge impact on organized crime.
I love it. I mean, look at it. Here we are. It's 48 years later. The film came out. We're talking about it yet.
Yeah.
No, I tell you, the street wannabes made the film even bigger. We've crossed 4 generations now. Everybody watches it on Thanksgiving or Christmas. And we just renewed the license to AMC again for another 10 years. There's never less than 5 or 6 million people watching this movie when it comes on yet.
Wow. Hey, now what about you when it comes on? You're flipping channels and you see it. Do you have to sit there and watch through it? Everybody else does.
No, I don't. No. I watched it once all the way through. You know, I know all about it. It's like watching a movie you saw 10 times. I don't want to see it.
Yeah. I mean, you can watch The Godfather more than 10 times, I think. Anyway, let's take a little commercial break. We're here with Gianni Russo. Great new book just came out. You can just tell by hearing the guy. Hollywood Godfather, My Life in the Movies and the Mob. His website is GianniRusso.com. Great stuff with Gianni Russo. We'll be right back after these messages. And now a word from our sponsors. Check out CartKing.com, 877-986-7771. Have you ever thought about opening your own mobile cart or kiosk business? Perhaps your current business wants to add multiple point-of-sale locations across the country quickly. Maybe the facility you manage could kickstart revenue by adding coffee, food, or retail services, like let's say you own an office building or a warehouse. Put one of these carts there in the lobby. Well, CartKing.com can be the answer to your needs. CartKing.com is a North American designer and manufacturer of the finest mobile retail coffee and food carts and kiosks money can buy. For 20 years, CartKing.com has been working with clients and corporations across America to provide indoor and outdoor carts and kiosks for any application. From large, heated, and secure outdoor retail or food kiosks to smaller, more mobile coffee kiosks or coffee stations, coffee carts, CartKing.com designs and builds them all. Carts and kiosks are fun, and so are the dozens of designs on the website, CartKing.com. Please visit today at CartKing.com or just call them at 877-986-7771. Tell them Ed Opperman sent you and you get a good deal. Remember, all these shows on Awake are brought to you by emailrevealer.com. You can go to emailrevealer.com and get a copy of my book, How to Become a Successful Private Investigator. You also do all the kind of different services for you. Online dating service investigations called an online infidelity investigation. And that's where you give us your husband or your boyfriend, your girlfriend's email address, and we trace it back to their online dating websites, and we return a list of all the dating sites that email is registered to. We can expand on that investigation and trace it back to porn sites, escort service sites, swinger sites, gambling websites, and even prescription drug websites, and all kinds of digital forensics, computer and cell phone digital forensics, where we can recover deleted content from an email or a hard drive and produce a report for you that you can use in court. That's emailrevealer.com, or you can contact me at oppermaninvestigations@gmail.com. Almightygold.com. Would you like to start investing in gold? But you can't afford to buy a whole ounce of gold, or certainly can't buy a bar of gold. With almightygold.com, you can invest in gold in these carat bars as little as of 1/10 of a gram of gold. So you can start investing tonight for as little as $6, $8. You can put your money in a product that's going to increase in value, not to be wasted on the trivial things we spend our money on every day. You can buy these carat bars. They're embedded into a credit card-sized plastic card. There's a watermark on it. There's a security strip on it, and it's all authenticated. You don't want to have them all sent to you at once. You can have them stored in their global savings vault for secure and safekeeping. They ship it to you when it reaches $1,000. When you have $1,000 in savings and you put it aside for a rainy day, for an emergency, you can barter with these little, guaranteed amounts of gold here in this little card. They also have a cryptocurrency that's backed by gold. And if you want to get into the gold business, become an affiliate of almightygold.com, contact us at almightygold.com. That's their email address. Contact us at almightygold.com, and they can put you in the gold business. Gold. Okay, welcome back to the Opperman Report. I'm your host, private investigator Ed Opperman. We're here today with Gianni Russo, GianniRusso.com. Hollywood Godfather, My Life in the Movies, and the mob. Gianni Russo, let me ask you a question. Now, you were saying before, you're 25 years old, you had all this money falling out of your pockets, you're doing great. Was there ever a time in your life you went broke?
Oh, I went broke a couple of times on different ventures. Okay. But I could say that I really went stone broke because I always kept my case money. My grandfather always told me, don't ever spend your last dime.
Right.
And I never did. And so I always had my startup money. But I made a lot of risk investments, one being the Renaissance Hotel in Las Vegas in 1980. I broke ground with that and made the mistake because Jimmy Carter was the president, and construction money went to 19% interest.
Right.
So I had to pull the plug on that. I lost about $6 million on that deal.
Okay, you mentioned Jimmy Carter. What about now you're from New York? You've been around in some circles there. You ever run into Mr. Trump?
Of course. I love Donald.
Okay.
I love what he's doing. I mean, he should have went to charm school, but other than that, I love what he's doing with the economy. I'm not any political type of guy, but I got to know Donald because he hired me. I was an opening act as a singer for Donald Trump. For Don Rickles at the Resorts International. And one night after I finished my half hour before Don came out, the guard came back and said, Donald and Ivana Trump want to come backstage and say hello to you. I said, yeah, and Mickey Mouse wants to say hello to you. Get out of here. So I'm thinking, why would they leave the show? The main act didn't go on. But they came to ask me if I would open up Trump Marina, which I did do then. So I opened Trump Marina as a headliner there and got to know Donald through the years, obviously. At the Friars Club in different roasts, we were on the same dais for a long time. But I've known 6 presidents. You know how insane that is? A street kid knows 6 presidents, 3 popes, and every other dignitary you could believe. I had such fun. The Vatican alone. I was at the Vatican like you would think I was a cardinal.
Did you ever think that Trump would be president?
No, nor did he. my close friends who backed him were with him that night. He was in shock when they announced he won. I think he was just doing it as a goof, never realized they'd win. But I love the way he's approaching it the right way, I think. But, he could be a little smoother with his dialogue. But look at the economy. It's great. And I'm an advocate of all these aliens coming in this country. If I have to go work in another country, I got to get a work visa. What's wrong with it? Let's do things legally. We're getting all the trash from all these countries, and he's right. Why should we take them? They're taking American jobs from people, and no, I think we need to restrict all these borders and preserve what we have. We have a great democracy here.
Yeah, plus we're going to build a wall. Some of your friends might get the contract, right?
Oh, hello. I don't think anybody wants to get that contract. Trump has a room he don't pay.
He's paying with other people's money, he'll pay. Okay, now you met 6 presidents. Now what about, you were in the movie, another great movie, by the way, too, Winter Kills. Okay,
my God,
yeah,
Jesus.
Nobody ever heard of that movie because it's like suppressed. What's your deal? How'd you get involved with that?
They just wanted me at the time. I was a hot commodity after The Godfather for a while. So, I was in a couple of interesting movies. Just as an actor, I didn't have nothing to do with them. The movies later on that I really got involved with was like Any Given Sunday,
right,
with Oliver Stone, because my brother-in-law at the time was Pat Bolin, who owned the Denver Broncos, and Pacino wanted to meet them. I said, I'll call him up. In fact, he called me up, Pacino. He says, you know the guys are on the Broncos. I said, yeah, it's my brother-in-law, because he wanted to play Shanahan, and that's who he played in that movie. He spent time with Shanahan. We went to Denver, and it was great for me. And then, I got the part as the Cameron Diaz's father's partner, so I was supposed to mentor her. And she was like another rich kid, spoiled brat, which she portrayed her very well. And that was a good movie. There was 38 movie stars in that movie.
Yeah.
And, even Seabiscuit, and then Michael LaBelle and Andrew Bergman, we did a 3-picture deal. We did Chances Are, The Freshman, and It Can Happen to You, with 3 great movies, actually.
How about Rockford Files? How'd you get involved in that?
Again, they just hired me, and then James Garner liked me. I did a lot of Rockford Files. I did about 200 hours of television. It was a great fun to me, going to Hollywood. My ego's like insane. I'm now a movie star. I loved it.
Where do you live now? Where do you live these days?
I got about 9 houses that I frequent. Everybody thought I was in real estate, but I have 10 mothers to my kids. So, I bought them all houses.
Oh, wait, how many times have you been married?
I've only been married 4 times, but I have 10 mothers to my kids.
Okay.
My last one had 2, so I got 9 boys and 2 girls. I have 9 grandsons now. And that's why I'm starting this whole Corleone family product line with Paramount. And that's in the markets as we speak. I'm in 18,000 grocery stores.
And what are you selling at Corleone? What is it?
It's called Corleone Italian Fine Products. I own. You're gonna love this one. I have jarred Clemenza's meat sauce. I got Fredo's Alfredo sauce. Forget about it.
How do you get the license for that? How'd you pull that off?
It's called $2 million.
Okay.
I put it up front.
Okay.
No, but the brand is a 50-year-old brand, and the recognition. Amazon recognizes it because I own the IP, not me, but my company, the IP on Genco olive oil, and we have the can, the exact can that De Niro gave the old man in Sicily when he went to avenge his father's death. And we have 10 million daily followers on our website. Godfather website, go to it. You'll see it. By the end of the day, we're always at, 8 million, 10 million, 9 million every day. So Amazon now is ordering 1 million cans of 500 millimeter can because they know the fans are going to buy this thing.
No, yeah, that has to take off. Especially Fredo's Alfredo sauce. Now, a couple of things here on the press release you guys sent me here. You helped the Shah of Iran get his money out of the country. Tell us about that.
Do you believe that?
Yeah.
Well, Nick Nitti and I were partners. When Costello and when Vito Genovese came out of prison, he wanted his family back. Costello was one of the Genovese family in New York and really didn't want to. The guy was too smart. Him and Joe Kennedy during Prohibition amassed $30 million. You know what that is in the 30s? That's a fortune. So with that, they created the syndicate, and that's how I got to go to meet Tony Accardo in Chicago, and then we were moving money out of Vegas for everybody, Nick Nitti and I, and that's what I did. I started carrying money for him earlier on. Then when I got into my 20s, I was in Vegas once a month at least, picking up money and moving it to Chicago and New York, and then it got so crazy when the FBI and everybody started checking that out. Then we worked a deal with a bank in Vegas, and we'd bring the money to the Vatican, and the Vatican started laundering the money, and then we started becoming international couriers for other people. And we got a call from the Shah of Iran. His people, General Madaba, called us, and Nick Nitti and I went over there, and that's just before the Khomeini took over. And we moved like $160 million of his money out of there in the last 6 hours of his reign. It was crazy.
And how'd you do this? Like cash on pallets on planes? What'd you do?
No, what we did is, thank God we went to Sicily to pick up 6 more guys, and we chartered a plane for Alitalia, and then we had the Shah order all his money into the city, which everybody else was trying to move it out before the banks were taken over. I said, move it in so we have it in one place. We took down 6 banks in 3 hours, and it was like a military process. We had wheels up with the tower at 4 o'clock sharp. We hit the banks and emptied them out, and what we did, we used soccer equipment bags. They call them football over here. I don't want to confuse it with our football. Yeah. It's the soccer bags. They're huge bags. And we filled these bags up. We had 6 vans, and we had these teams, and we hit all the banks simultaneously and brought it to the Vatican. The Alitalia plane went right to Leonardo da Vinci, and the priest came and picked it up right on the airstrip. They laundered it for them, and we placed it where the Shah wanted it. And the Khomeini thought, he had all the money in the bank. They knew what was going on, and they were saying, let it go, let it all come here, let it all come here. They didn't know what they were doing. But when they opened the banks on Monday morning, there was nothing in them.
Wait, you went into these banks with guns, with your guys with guns, and took this money?
No, the Shah ordered the money. The bankers were in on it.
Okay.
They took a piece of it. They had to flee the country anyway because the Shah was nationalizing everything.
Right.
So it was a win-win for everybody, and we took 10%.
Now, what about this deal? Now, you shot one of Pablo Escobar's nephew or something like that. This was in your club here in Vegas.
Yeah, it was in Vegas. Yeah. Well, but I mean, again, I've killed 3 people, but all in self-defense.
Okay.
In fact, the last judge I was in front of, he said, Johnny, if you kill another person, you better have a red S on your chest. Thinking I was Superman. But I was all self-defense. I went to a ladies' rescue. The guy you're talking about, Lorenzo Morales, was the underboss of Pablo Escobar. And he was setting up Vegas for a big major cocaine situation. I didn't know what he was doing, but he came to my club. He had dinner. And he ordered a Cristal and, pate and caviar. And his check was $1,200 in the first hour. I love this guy.
In 89, yeah.
And then he breaks the champagne bottle and stabs his girlfriend right in the face with it. That's how I got involved. I went over there. Nobody would go to the ladies' rescue. So I went over and declared myself, son, this is my club, and you hear those sirens, they're coming for you. So if I were you, I'd get out of here right now. And he says, no, Mom. I said, no, Mom, where the hell are you from? And with this, I didn't know he still had the bottle in his hand. He went for my neck. Unfortunately, I was agile enough. I bent back. With that, he slit all along my chin bone. And what I'm about to tell you, you're going to think I'm totally insane. I'm looking at the blood coming out of my chin. I'm looking at this guy. And I said, look what you just did. And he's looking at me like I'm the nut. I said, I waited 6 months for the Sea Island cotton shirts from Nat Weiss. It's the first time I put the shirt on. Look what you did to my shirt. So I drew my gun, and I put 2 bullets right between his eyes. Now I'm looking at a guy with a hole in his head. He's feeling it like it's a mosquito bite with his hand.
Wow.
But I found out from the coroner he was so high on coke, it took him longer to close down. And then he finally died. But it was ruled justifiable homicide because 150 witnesses watched him stab the girl. I went to her rescue. He stabbed me. And that was the end of that. But I had to go straighten it out with Pablo Escobar, though.
Wait, you didn't get arrested on that, though? You got arrested for that?
Arrested? No, why?
Okay, I'm just saying, because you said, justifiable homicide. I wonder if you were arrested or,
No. The district attorney, it's an inquest.
So it dropped, okay.
Then they rule it, justifiable or not. And don't press charges.
And what about the other 2?
Well, I really don't want to talk about
we don't
those
have to. We don't have to talk about
to me,
How'd you straighten this out?
I got into a situation, and
Okay.
That's who I am.
Okay. Well, how'd you straighten this out with Pablo Escobar? You went to Colombia?
I went to Colombia. John Gotti arranged me to go because he thought I'd never come back. He said, "You're going to go over there." I said, "Yeah." I said, "Well, the guy. See, what happened was when I come out of the hospital, I go home, and there's a big Santeria in my living room rug. I don't know if you know. These Marielito. He was a Marielito, and they have to avenge his brother's death. So his older brother had to come after me and kill me. But before they kill you, they kill your dogs, your cats, your family, your friends. They make you suffer." So I said, I can't let this happen to my kids. They had nothing to do with this. So I did a little history on Pablo Escobar. I knew he had some kids. So I arranged with John because I knew John had to be doing business with him. So John made the arrangement with me to go meet the guy. I don't know what he told him, but when I got there, I didn't have 3 words with Pablo Escobar before they knocked me out. And I found I was in a torture chamber. I don't even know how many hours I was there or days. And then finally this guy come down, and believe me, I thought I was going to bleed out myself. And I see a guy standing in front of me. I just raised my head enough to see up to his knees in his hands. And he's well-dressed, not like these guys in fatigues. And he had the book, The Making of the Godfather, in his hand. And I hear the voice for the second time in my life was Pablo Escobar. And he says, "Why don't you tell me you were Carlo in The Godfather?" Oh. And with this, he tells them to bring him up to the house. They cleaned me up, and I became friends with the guy.
Now, do you think being Carlo in The Godfather helped you in organized crime?
Helped me. Yeah. I wouldn't be around.
Yeah.
The Godfather's changed my life, my whole world. And sometimes I've been asked this question 100 times. I don't know what I'd be doing or what I would have in the world, because I capitalize on everything. I don't care what it is. And even when I had polio, look, I used my affliction to sell ballpoint pens and get the sympathy of the society. Women, they would give me $5 a pen when I was buying them for 15 cents down on Delancey Street. Craziness.
Hey, tell us about the mob's attempt to ensnare Kennedy brothers in a sex scandal with Marilyn Monroe.
Well, they would try, but see, most people don't realize that Joe Kennedy, the father, approached Frank Costello, because they were partners during Prohibition, like I said earlier. And he said, I want you to help my son to become president. He's with your power and all the union affiliations that you have throughout the United States with the Teamsters, the Culinary Union, all the brotherhoods, the International Longshoremen. He thought they could make him president. So they said, what's in it for us? He said, if my son becomes president, they will invade Cuba and give you back all your casinos. It was a win-win. It was a win-win for the United States, get rid of the mob, give them back the casinos, even put Batista in. Who cares who runs the country? So that's what they did. And when John won, the mistake he made was make his brother Robert the Attorney General. Unbeknownst to John, because this was a little kid brother. Who pays attention to your kid brother? I got all kinds of people. I don't even talk to them. But the thing is that the guy, he was a righteous son of a bitch, this kid. And he hated his father and all his friends and all his mob associates, and he went after all of them. So Costello called Joe Kennedy in. And he said, let me tell you something. We got nothing now. Your son's the president, and not only that, your younger son is going after all of us, including Marcello. And Marcello, you don't fool around with, Carlos, in New Orleans. I was there that Sunday afternoon when they raided his house and barbecued in his backyard and arrested him and deported him. And he said right to John F. Kennedy, Bobby, because Bobby was there. He led the raid and all the cameras and all the TV stuff. And he told him right then, he said, I'm going to kill you. He said, oh, now you're threatening an attorney general? And Carlos got right in his face. He had handcuffs on already. He said, I'm not threatening you. I'm going to kill you. That's a promise. And sure enough, he killed him.
What do you know about the death of Marilyn Monroe?
I know everything about the death of Marilyn Monroe. You crazy or what? I was there. See, after the Appalachian, that whole raid, Costello would go nowhere. A lot of the smart guys, even Gambino, would never show up again. So I was Costello's eyes and ears. So I would just go listen, and they knew it. The kid is coming. They always call me the kid. So they sent me to Cal Neva because they were going to try to set up Bobby and John Kennedy one more time with Marilyn Monroe and take pictures of them like they did with J. Edgar Hoover cross-dressing as a broad in Chicago. And they had pictures of J. Edgar Hoover dressed as a woman, and that's why he always denounced there was a mob, because they threatened him they would go public with the pictures. So they thought if they can get the two brothers with Marilyn Monroe one more time, they'd threaten them and make these pictures public, these wonderful little Catholic boys cheating on their wives with Marilyn Monroe, and they'd never get reelected. But that never happened. John never showed up. Bobby came, and his father was in a wheelchair at that time. He already had the stroke. And Marilyn went crazy. She said, I'm done with you guys. I'm going public. And she said it on a Saturday night. She should have said nothing, just left. She called Joe DiMaggio, that rat, in San Francisco to come and get her. And he called Frank. He said, Frank, what's going on there? He's mind your own business and don't come. And, you know, who knows what the world would be if he did show up. Marilyn went, you know, it's such a chaotic thing. But she was screaming. We could hear her in the cabin.
Yeah.
And then she left, and then soon after her, Bobby left. And there's nobody around us would ever kill Marilyn Monroe. Bobby Kennedy, and I swear it on Bible, I know the guy who did it. All he did was see, they had a guy they called the doctor. Everybody used him. The CIA used him. The mob used him. This guy was planning to be an anesthesiologist when he was a kid. He got screwed up, but he did all kinds of work. He can numb you up. He can kill you. He can paralyze you, do anything he wants with needles. And what they did with Marilyn through her pubic area and her crotch, they kept pumping oxygen into her fallopian organ, and she died of an embolism. You could exhume her body right now. It don't mean nothing. Sure, the coroner in L.A., who's gotten everything wrong since O.J., she had drugs. She had drugs in her system all her life, this kid. Forget about it.
Okay, 2 quick questions because we're running out of time. Was a suppository used?
No.
It's Tony Spilotro.
I just told you what was used.
Tony Spilotro, was he involved?
No, Spilotro's an asshole. Spilotro wasn't even around then. Are you kidding?
Okay,
with Marilyn's death?
A lot of people say that. Okay, and then what about it? Was she raped and drugged that night in Cal Neva?
Never. Okay. Never raped. No.
Okay.
She would give it to you. Why you got to rape her?
Okay.
She was a party broad. Forget about it. I love Marilyn.
We only got 5 minutes left. I want to ask you something probably nobody ever asked you before. And you talked about Gotti being involved in coke. It came out that he was getting that coke and selling that coke from the Iran-Contra stuff with Sal Reale and those guys. Do you know anything about that?
I know nothing.
I know nothing. I knew it. Hey, listen, man.
What about? I can't talk about John Gotti. I wasn't around then. I was already gone.
I know. Okay. All right.
No.
We got about 5 minutes left, man. What do you want to leave us with?
I just want, the reason I don't want anybody to think I wrote this book to boast of my endeavors and what I've done. But if you read the book, the last sentence in the book is, yes, you can. I wrote this book not only to motivate my 20 kids that I'm involved with, but every kid in the world. I've achieved every dream I wanted. I came out of the gate with the worst situation ever, being a cripple, coming from no money, and I made it. If you have a dream, pursue your dreams. I don't care how old you are, what the color of your skin is, because life's too short. And I'm the happiest guy in the whole world. I got all the energy in the world because I'm happy. I'm happy with what I do. I don't care about nothing or nobody. I'm very respectful. But live life, respect people, and pursue your dreams. That's what I want everybody to know. That's what the book is about. And as I said, the last sentence in the book is that. Yes, you can, because if I could do it, anybody could do it. I'm illiterate. I come from nowhere, and I have amassed millions and millions of dollars.
Hey, when did you learn
fun?
When did you learn how to read and write? Because if you didn't know at 25, when did you learn?
I never did.
Oh, you never did?
I have people. What am I going to go to school? Am I crazy? I don't do nothing. What am I? What advantage? I got professors that work for me. I got lawyers like Barry Schlotnick. They went to every school in the world. If I got a question, I ask him.
Barry Schlotnick is still around? What's he doing?
Barry, I love Barry. Barry's my attorney. I met Barry with Joe Colombo. Barry's still a lawyer, and now his son Stuart's a great lawyer. No, Barry's a little older than me, but he's a great guy. I see him all the time. I love the guy, actually.
Gianni Russo, man, I'm going to beg you to come back, okay? I know you.
Anytime you have to beg me, just ask me.
Oh, man, I got your cell number, man. I'm gonna harass
Please.
you, man.
No,
Gianni Russo, man. Thank you so much. Hollywood Godfather, My Life in the Movies and the Mob. Check out his website, GianniRusso.com.
Oh yeah, listen to my iPad. You got to. Here's what you got to. I got a podcast now.
Get out of here. Where?
Hollywood Godfather podcast. I post a new show every Wednesday night. You're going to love it. You're going to insane. I say everything in the world. Now we're taking emails and asking questions. We have a mailbag at the end of the show. It's an hour. Every Wednesday is a new show.
And where can we listen to it?
Hollywood Godfather podcast.
Where can we listen to it? iTunes?
iTunes, anywhere you want.
Okay, Hollywood Godfather, Gianni Russo, GianniRusso.com. Gianni, thank you so much, man.
Thank you, my man. Appreciate it.
No, I appreciate it, man. Thank you. All right, they got Gianni Russo, man. I've been trying to get this guy for a while. I emailed him a couple of years back, and then when the book came out as a publicist, I guess they went through old email lists and stuff like that, and they found me. Really enjoyed that. Gianni Russo, GianniRusso.com. Hollywood Godfather. Check out the Hollywood Godfather podcast as well. My Life in the Movies and the Mob. Hey, don't forget our brand new sponsor we just got here. She's updating me with new copy as we speak. Ever heard of Castile soap? This is called puresoapflakes.com. And the woman who runs this company is a sweetheart. I'm going to be interviewing her very shortly. You're going to hear her voice and stuff like that. Very nice woman. Pure Soap Flakes Company handcrafts fine soap bars, laundry powder, and concentrated soap flakes using organic vegetable oils in northern Minnesota. Bathe your body and wash your clothes with pure soap products that are free of fragrance, GMOs, palm oil, sodium lauryl sulfate, and synthetic additives. Keep it clean, folks. Pure Soap Flakes Company products are kind to living creatures and sensitive skin. You got a brand new baby. You want to wash their onesies in puresoapflakes.com. Safe for drains and waterways. You love the earth, right? And work great in high-efficiency washers and top front-loading machines. Order today at puresoapflakes.com, greenhome.com, or amazon.com. Or you can give them a call, 218-568-2525. Tell them Ed Opperman sent you. Pure Soap Flakes Company is a proud member of the Handcrafted Soap and Cosmetic Guild. And everybody's heard of them. puresoapflakes.com. Thank you so much. Hey, guys, good old Gianni Russo there, who's making a lot of rounds. It's not like this is some kind of exclusive guest we just got here first time, but I think you might have, if you listen between the lines, I think you might have heard a couple of things there that you won't hear elsewhere. You got to be careful sometimes. But anyway, check out OppermanReport.com. That's where we have our special member section, where we have exclusive content. There's over 200 shows there. I'm going to be uploading all of those old classic after shows, we used to call them, the after show roundtable things we used to do. I got about 50 or 60 of them, and we're going to upload those. I might want to listen to them first and put a little commentary at the beginning. I don't know what. I'm already so overworked as it is. I don't know what we're going to do. But I got some news for you here, again, as usual, is that YouTube has demonetized the Opperman Report YouTube channel. So now we've lost all that income. Wasn't that much. It was only about $200 a month, but we were counting on that money, especially since now we just lost our child support. Victoria no longer gets child support, and we also had our college fund stolen from us. So, as much as I like to be positive like good old Gianni Russo, we are struggling over here to keep the lights turned on and stay here, keep the lights on, you might say, and keep the internet on and keep the microphone running. So if you like the show and you want to support the show, what you do is you become a member at OppermanReport.com for as little as $6 a month. You get access to all those exclusive shows, documents, all kinds of fun stuff there. You can also make donations, so you can go to OppermanReport.com and make a donation. There's a donate button there as well to keep the show on the air, to keep us alive. Because it's an uphill struggle here every day, just without YouTube fighting with us, and without getting ambushed in court and stuff like that. Without all these problems, just to keep the show on the air for you, and to book these guests, we give you 5 to 7 hours of content a week, which is way more than the average podcaster out there. Plus, everyone recognizes we get guests that nobody else gets, and that is a bunch of guys out there. They contact every guest they have on the show, and they put them on it, and it's kind of watering down what we're doing. But what are you going to do? I'm ahead of the game. I'm not stealing anybody else's guests and following people around and booking everybody they put on this show. I'm kind of a icebreaker, breaking the ice out here for you. So if you want that to continue, because listen, if I go off the air, who are these guys going to book when they don't have me booking guests for, right? I'm going to take down half the podcasts out there. All right? So anyway, there's all of that. Also, too, we have been making some news. They mentioned us on Morning Joe, one of my investigations into the Steve Bannon porn and meth house. And also, too, my work on WikiLeaks and Julian Assange, the arrest of Julian Assange. I exposed his business there with the email conversations back and forth with Trump Jr., and that's made the rounds out there, and I've changed some people's opinions on Assange over that. Some influencers and good deep thinkers and people that I respect out there. So, I believe the show is well respected. I believe that my work is well respected. And, we're making a difference. We are kind of a flagship out here. We bring other shows along with us, especially the ones that book every guest I put on. So if you could support what we're doing here, that would be a big help, and we'd be able to continue doing this rather than watching it all go into the dust. There will be no further new shows on YouTube whatsoever, okay? I'll put a notice when we do a new show. I'll record a little thing. Hey, YouTube, go to Spreaker, go to Spotify, because we're on Spotify now. And these are places that are monetized that are paying us. But if YouTube's not going to pay us, we're not going to give any new content to YouTube. That's just stupid. Okay, so if you listen to us on YouTube, you got to go to Spreaker.com, Spreaker.com, and look up Opperman Report. You follow that, you get an email notification every time the show begins to air live. The show airs live Friday and Saturday nights. And then you can listen to us there. There'll be less commercials. You won't have those YouTube commercials. And that's what we're doing now. So thank you so much. OppermanReport.com. Become a member. Or you can email me. Get 13 months for $65 at OppermanReport@gmail.com.